The United States will remember this day in which it was singled out for attack in the General Assembly for the very act of exercising our right as a sovereign nation. We will remember it when we are called upon to once again make the world's largest contribution to the United Nations. And we will remember it when so many countries come calling on us, as they so often do, to pay even more and to use our influence for their benefit.
Following through, UN Ambassador Nikki Haley announcing $285 million in cuts to the international body's 2018-2019 fiscal year budget. Our next guest thinks that's a step in the right direction, writing an op-ed titled "How to Defund the UN." Here now is John Bolton, former U.S. ambassador and a Fox News contributor. Nice to see you, Ambassador Bolton.
Glad to be with you.
So you clearly support this based on your opinion piece. Do you think it goes far enough?
Well, what actually happened here is disconnected from the Jerusalem vote. This is the end of the consideration of the 2018-19 budget. And so these cuts were in process. It's a little bit unclear from the math whether they're substantially greater than what the Europeans asked for. But look, any cut of this magnitude in either the peacekeeping or the regular UN budget is a good thing. I think what the Trump administration should do now, beginning on January 1, is look systematically across the UN system to see what agencies perform, what agencies are overfilled with bureaucracy, and frankly, what agencies we can withdraw from, as we just announced for the second time that we're withdrawing from UNESCO, as is Israel. And so it's certainly the budget numbers are a problem, but in many respects, they're the symptom of a greater problem, and that's the ineffectiveness of much of the UN system.
Well, so you sound like you think that what's going on is fair, but what do you think is the actual concrete effect of this particular cut?
Well, it's hard to say just from the available information. You know, this happens every year at the UN. The budget gets adopted at the very last minute. UN ambassadors hate dealing with the budget. You know, it's math, and we do high policy at the UN. So, you know, it's not surprising it was adopted 10 o'clock on Christmas Eve or something like that. And it could simply be a top-line cut. It could reflect programs that have been phased out. It could have more significant effects, and I hope that's right. We just need more details than we have publicly available at the moment.
Well, let's take a look at the 2017 UN budget. We can put that up on the screen for our viewers to go ahead and take a look at. The U.S. is the largest contributor to the UN's regular budget at 22% for 2017. France made up about 4.8% of it, and Germany 6.3%. Ambassador Bolton, do you feel like wealthier countries should be contributing more?
Well, you know, that's one way to do it. I would propose something, I think, that will have a greater effect. I'd give up this system of international taxation altogether, this assessment based on percentage of the budget that we pay. I would simply have the United States on its own say, we're going to contribute to the programs we think are effective, and we're not going to contribute to the programs we don't think are effective. If others disagree with us, they could increase their contribution. Now, this is contrary to the practice that's been followed for many years. It could build up our arrearages to the UN system. It could cost us our vote in the General Assembly. I say it's well worth it, because if the United States said, we're not going to play this game anymore, it would have a tsunami-like effect on the UN system. And I hope that's one option the Trump administration would consider. Voluntary contributions would make the UN a more effective, more efficient organization. Other countries might actually come to see that.
Well, do you think that if the U.S. did move to voluntary contributions, if we made that unilateral move, that other countries would follow suit?
I definitely think in Japan and in countries that are tax-paying democracies, everybody would stand up and say, well, if the U.S. could do it, why can't we? And my answer would be, absolutely, you should do it too. If these programs are so valuable and it's the United States that's blind to their value, surely other countries will step up and voluntarily increase their own funding, right?
Well, that's probably true. I want to ask you, though, about President Trump saying that he would cut funding to countries that voted against the U.S. and the decision to move the embassy in Israel. Ambassador Haley echoing that. You know, most of those countries we've talked about, the U.S. has an interest in sending money to those countries. Do you think that that was a good strategy for the president to make that kind of threat when it's something that he probably can't deliver on?
Well, I think you can deliver on it. Going back to the time I was at USAID in the Reagan administration, we looked at what we called a series of million-dollar votes that we would say, on this vote, we really want you to vote with us, or it'll cost you $1 million of your foreign aid program. We couldn't convince the State Department to do that. But you have to send a signal one way or another. I do think that rather than extract the pain in bilateral foreign assistance, going after the multilateral fora where this sort of outrageous behavior takes place is actually more productive. But that'll have to be debated as the administration looks at what to do. Nobody should underestimate, though, this vote in the General Assembly and the one earlier in the week in the Security Council against America. This wasn't against Israel. This was against us, was an act of just unbelievable folly by the people who pushed it and voted for it.